What do you do when there is nothing else left? I was a college graduate who, 2 years after collecting my certificate, was still unemployed. There was a gaping blank on my resume. Add to the fact that my debts were out of control, and it's fair to say that I was a mess and growing ever more desperate. So, what was I doing about all of this? How was I digging myself out of this hole? I was staying up all night, trawling through the internet. Is there a point at which the internet does end and sanity begins? I neither knew nor cared. I watched thousands of clips, read conspiracy theories and news reports until they all blurred into one stream of hyperbole. I slept fitfully during the day and went back online the minute I woke up. I would surf even though I needed to go to the bathroom until it hurt. I forgot to eat or drink, and soon I had a permanent background headache. Like a lot of addicts, it was not long before I moved on to the harder stuff, the deep web. I was sickened by a lot of what I saw, but I still immersed myself more and more. When I stumbled across this site that changed my life, it looked fairly innocuous at first. There was a simple hero image of the outline of a human body and a drop-down menu in the top right-hand side, accessed via 3 short lines. For other people, it's one more bet, one more drink. I clicked on one more link. I was surprised to see only 2 options, buyer and seller. I wasn't going to be buying anything anytime soon, so I followed the warning-marked seller. This submenu left me open-mouthed. It listed items that could be sold and gave the price that the seller would receive. All I needed to do was add details for my preferred way to receive payment, and then tick the box next to the item. The first item on the list was likeness. For the price shown, I could pay the 2 months I was overdue on my rent and buy wine and pizza every night for a week with what was left over. Now, I was not sure what was meant by likeness. Other items that I could sell via the website were more straightforward. Things like my social security number, my date of birth, and even my name. A lot of these seemed like a way to commit fraud for the buyers. All very dubious, but at least I thought they were paying to use these details rather than simply stealing them, as so often happens. Likeness seemed more ethereal, though. I decided that it meant the right to use my image, a photograph of my face. I also decided I really wanted a beer and pizza and to be able to tell my landlord to get off my back because I had finally paid your dang rent. I added my details for the money transfer and ticked the box next to likeness, and I pressed submit. A transaction processing symbol turned into a transaction complete, and a new box appeared giving me the option to comment. I typed, "Do you need me to send you my photograph?" thinking that this would answer my question about what exactly I had just sold. A moment later, the reply came, "We already have it." I flashed back to some of the things that I had done in front of the computer screen, and then decided that I would rather not think about it. Feeling nervous, sure, I was being scammed, about to kick myself for being so naive. But I checked my balance, and what do you know? The money was in there, I went back to the good old innocent web and ordered the largest, most overloaded pizza that I could think of, and then I began to add my sides. It took 2 weeks for me to blow through the money from selling my likeness, and I had had a great time without leaving my apartment, and I had paid no rent. Not to worry though, I told myself, and I returned back to the deep web and my new favorite website. This time, I hovered over fingerprints. 30 seconds considering. Flag Day dozen dodgy things that this could lead to. But it was the money I would make that made me think, well, whatever. I ticked and submitted. This time, 10 small boxes appeared on screen, with an instruction for me to place the ends of my fingers in them, in which I did. And within seconds, the transaction was complete. And within minutes, I could see that I was once again flush. Problems over. I could pay my rent, and enough off a credit card to make the bank back off. In the comment box, I typed, "Thank you." The reply was almost immediate. "You are welcome." Now, I don't know if anybody reading this is a gambler, but I guess if they are, they would not by now have put money on me spending the money wisely. And they would be right. And this time I told myself another couple of weeks later that I would get my act in gear. I spent a significant time going through the items that I could sell and created a spreadsheet with how much I owed. So I knew the amount that I needed to earn with this one final sale of a part of me. I had decided to see that this had to be the last time. There was a relatively small number of things left that I could sell. Well, that I was prepared to sell. My name, date of birth, and social security number were all still no-goes. I didn't want to risk losing the ability to have a bank account and find employment. A history of being a disaster did not mean, in my mind, that I always would be. So, one final sale it was, and then I would clear my debts and find a job. I ticked the box next to sell, body part. From the next list, I ticked kidney. I was close to hyperventilating when I clicked submit. Close to tears not long afterwards when I checked my balance. I felt a huge pressure being lifted. With this money, I could finally get my life back on track. The comment box already had text in it. I had been too worked up to read it, so I finally took a deep breath and did. It was an 8-digit reference number, an address and a time later that day. An appointment for me to have my kidney removed, I figured. I considered not going. I already had the money, so why even bother? And then I thought back to the message telling me that they already had my photograph. Whoever ran the website probably knew where I lived as well, or they could easily find out if they wanted. It was not rocket science to work out that they were probably bad people, criminals and in some kind of bad organization. Not people to cross or to mess around with. I felt sick as I left the apartment at the prospect of having an operation, but also elated at the amazing things lying ahead for me. I just needed to get this over with. The address turned out to be a nondescript building on the outskirts of town. The windows were all shuttered and there was no signage. Just the human outline I recognized from the website. A keypad was fixed into the wall, next to a sturdy-looking door. Not sure what else to do. I entered the reference number that I was given. The door slid open with a sigh. My stomach doing backflips. I stepped inside. I could hear the drone of an air conditioner, but I still suddenly felt very hot. Nerves, I told myself. Totally natural. I seemed to be in some kind of reception area, but it was deserted. Scratch that. A man appeared. He was wearing a white overall and mask and safety glasses. He may or may not have been smiling when he said, "Welcome. Let's get you prepped." I followed him along a long corridor. The walls were blank, whitewashed, and the smell of antiseptic was growing stronger. Eventually, he turned off into a small, windowless room. I hesitated on the threshold. There was a raised table, fluorescent strips overhead, a stack of equipment next to the bed. Medical, I had guessed, though I really had no idea. "Please," the man said and gestured that I should come in. I smiled weakly and did. He gave me a robe to put on and turned to do something to the equipment while I got changed. I assumed that I needed to lie on the table, and when he looked around from whatever it was that he had been doing and saw me, he said, "Good." It made me feel like a dog rolling over and playing dead, but I kept this to myself. I did, though, have some questions. "Is this all safe?" I asked. "Perfectly," he replied without even missing a beat. I wasn't sure. I felt hot to the point where I thought I was going to faint, and the lighting overhead was flickering, making pain start to flower above my eyes. "I'm not sure I want to go ahead with this," I said. "There's nothing to be concerned about," he replied, and before I realized what was happening, had nicked the skin of my neck with a needle. I immediately felt an unpleasant tingling sensation and a numbness begin to spread up into my face. He picked up a tablet computer that was resting among the equipment and studied it for a moment before turning back to look at me and asking, "Now, which eye would you like to keep?" "What?" I exclaimed, or tried to, because my lips were numb and the word came out slurred. "What are you talking about?" I had managed. "I sold one of my kidneys, not my eyes." I did not wait for an answer. I was horrified and decided that I wanted out of there. I tried to sit up, but the numbness had spread to my spine and then my arms. I was helpless to do anything but lie there and watch as he once more studied the tablet. No, he said in a quiet, relaxed voice. "The records show that you agreed to sell a body part, but did not specify which one." "My ticked kidney," I tried to say, but my mouth would not move and I couldn't feel my tongue. I could feel my heart beating faster and faster. It felt like I could not breathe. Cold sweat trickled down into my eyes, blurring my vision. I could see this. I could not feel it, though. I wanted to scream, wanted to cry out in terror, but my jaws were locked, my limbs useless. All I could do was watch as the scalpel came into view and as he lowered it slowly towards my left eye. "It'll all be over soon," he said, and then the blade became a shadow over my eye, a darkness that was soon all I could see. That was then, and this is now. I am writing this in an internet cafe, after trashing my laptop's hard drive and ditching it. There's just me in here and the owner. I think that he would like me to leave from the dirty looks that he's giving me, but before I head off, I have one more thing to do. I have enough money to buy a coach ticket and go a long way from here, away from everything and everyone that I have ever known. I have just logged onto the site and found what I'm looking for in the seller menu. Name, date of birth, social security number. I tick sell on all three. Enter the details in the boxes that pop up. Press submit, and moments later the money is in my account. I have been withdrawing as much cash as I can daily, and after I cross the road to the ATM and withdraw the latest amount, I will snap my card in half and throw it away. This will be a fresh start, the past wiped clean, left behind. I'm going to stop writing now and go. It's time to log off for good and make my escape. Only the screen has changed. The comment box is opened up, and a new message has appeared. We like and follow you. I feel tears begin to flow from the eye they did not take.